Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. Prodigy Bowlers Tour welcomes you to episode 144. The 2023 Kansas City Open April Points Tournament, Division 4 Championship Round. Today, 5 bowlers will meet in a series of head-to-head handicap matches where the winner will keep advancing as long as she keeps winning. In our opening match, the number 5 qualifier, Anna Keeler of Shawnee, Kansas, will face our number 4 qualifier, Kirsten Ussery of Basehor, Kansas. The winner of that match will advance to meet our number 3 qualifier, Isabel Young of Sibley, Missouri. That winner will move on to face our number 2 qualifier, Liliana Gentlemark of Kansas City, Missouri. And the winner of that match will bowl for the championship against our tournament leader, Grace Coleman of the Bowling Coleman family in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. It's just the second all-girls field ever on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. As the crow flies, Leavenworth, Kansas is about 25 miles northwest of Kansas City, Missouri. And from where I live in Overland Park, Kansas, it's about a 45-minute drive. On this same piece of land where you'll find a bowling alley today, once sat Kittyland Amusement Park with its merry-go-round, train rides, race cars, and other fun attractions, including the giant dinosaur that sat out on Spruce Street to welcome the guests who came from far and wide for a day of fun. Today, that same dinosaur greets the visitors who have come to Crown Lanes in Leavenworth to compete in the Kansas City Open April Points Tournament. This is the second time this season the KCO has been to Crown Lanes. The first time was in February, but you didn't get to see that tournament because I was recovering from injuries sustained in my January car accident. The KCO is back in Leavenworth, and today we're bringing you the championship round in Division 4. As regular Prodigy viewers know by now, the Kansas City Open divides the field into 5 average-based divisions. Division 4 is the group of kids who have averages between 140 and 159, and their handicap is 90% of the difference between their entering average and 159, the top of the division. The kids bowl 6 games of qualifying in all divisions. The A squad bowls first in the morning, followed by the B squad. That completes the morning block. Then the A squad returns to bowl their afternoon block, followed by the B squad. 3 games in the morning, 3 games in the afternoon for everybody, all to jockey for position to try and make the TV finals on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Here's how the Division 4 qualifying went down. This time, Division 4 was the smallest of the 5 divisions, with just 10 Division 4 bowlers in an otherwise packed field, which gave those in Division 4 who showed up a better chance of getting to the stepladder finals. As you can see, Grace Coleman took command early on, setting the pace through the opening block of qualifying. And the Ussery sisters, Kaylee and Kirsten, got off to a quick start too, both of them inside the projected cut line after the morning block, while Anna Keeler was on the outside looking in from 8th place. But then in the afternoon block, Kaylee Ussery got caught in neutral, firing 3 straight games in the 140s, while Anna Keeler passed Kaylee and tied her sister Kirsten Ussery for the 4th position. At the KCO, when 2 players tie for 4th place at a points tournament, there's no roll-off since they'll just be bowling each other in the opening match of the stepladder. But one player must be designated as the higher seed to determine which one gets the choice of starting lanes in that opening match. And it was Kirsten Ussery who bowled a 195 scratch to break the tie and claim the 4 seed. But either way, we open today's bowlcast with these 2 girls, Kirsten Ussery and Anna Keeler. Kirsten is bowling in her very first Kansas City Open of the season today, and she makes the stepladder finals. How about that? She has elected to lead off. And her opening ball creeps just a little bit high. She leaves the 4-pin, an easy spare to start. Kirsten is 16 years old. Started bowling at the age of 12. So she got a little later start than a lot of these kids we see at the KCO. But that's a spare to open the match. So she's off and running. So now we get our first look at Annalise Keeler. She goes by Anna. Prodigy viewers will be familiar with another Annalise that we've had on the show in the past. Two-time back-to-back junior gold national champion, Annalise O'Brien. But this is Anna Keeler. She's 12 years old. And her first toss drifts high, and she leaves the 6-10. Anna bowls league with us out at Olathe Lanes East, so I'm pretty familiar with her and her twin sister. Anna has a high game of 245. That one got away from her. And she will just try to shake that one off. Well, you're going to see some action to our left and to our right. The bowlers on our left on lanes 19 and 20, that's Division 5. And the bowlers to our right on 23 and 24, that's Division 3. And we'll let you know how their step ladders play out when we get to the end of the show today. Anna finds the pocket in the second frame, but you know the old saying, no drive, no five. And she leaves the kingpin. Easiest spare in the rack. Just throw your strike ball and you will take care of the 5-pin. Down it goes. Now you see that the handicaps are added into their score in the first frame. Anna had 8 out in her first frame. You add that 8 to 7, that gives her the 15 in the first. Kirsten high in the second frame with that toss, and she leaves a somewhat more difficult cluster, the 3-6-10. I'm going to put that ball right between the 3 and 6. And just like that. So just 3 pins separating these two. Kirsten just turned 16 in February. There's one that finds the pocket, but that pesky 10 pin, we are all familiar with that one. Left-hander's 7 pin, right-hander's 10 pin, the bane of our existence. And she covers it. Players at this skill level would benefit more from learning how to make spares than they will from trying to improve their strike percentage. Because they're going to leave a lot of spares, although Anna said, I ain't leaving no spare here. That was high flush, and all 10 of them go out. She's in good balance, and I love how she holds that follow-through all the way until the ball gets to the pins. Well, she nearly ripped the rack, but that 5-pin got blocked out from getting over to the 7. So she'll have an easy spare. Anna lists as her favorite pro bowler Amleto Monicelli, going old school on us. And there's a spare. Well, Kirsten bowls league here at Crown Lanes. So she should be familiar with the path to the pocket in this house. Another 10-pin. She goes cross lane at it. That's the way we recommend. And she covers it once again. Kirsten says her favorite pro bowler is Belmo. And yet, she's a one-hander. The light shaker yields 9 and a wiggle, but that's it. Another corner pin. She got started bowling by joining a summer league in 2019 and decided she liked it. Good cover. 5 frames, 5 spares. You can do worse. We get all hung up on getting those strikes, and certainly in the Division I field, you better throw some strikes, but here in Division 4, spares will usually get it done. Oh! Another ball that just didn't have any drive to carry out the 5-pin, and this time it has company. The 4-5. This is one of the baby splits. It's called a baby split because you make it by touching both pins with the ball, and here's how you do it. Put that ball right between the 4 and 5. And she covers it perfectly. And is pretty happy about it, I'd say. Well, she should be. Let's look at it again. This was a good one. She trusts it out to the right. Then it finds the dry on the back end and hooks right in there. Perfectamundo. And she nearly backed it up with a strike, but just a little bit high. Leaves the 4. Another easy spare. After that errant spare attempt at the 6-10 in her opening frame where she tossed it in the gutter, she's been perfect on her spares since. And of course, as soon as I say that, she hooks by the 4-pin. The announcer's jinx. Sorry, Anna. So Kirsten moves out to a 14-pin lead halfway through the match. Once again, finds the pocket, but the 6-pin just lays in the channel, doesn't tap out the 10. That's what we call the weak 10 or the soft 10. She's 2 for 2 on these. Make that 3 for 3. Tell you what, you see a kid who's only been bowling 3 or 4 years, they're not usually this good of a spare shooter, so Kirsten obviously has been working on that part of her game. Well, that string of spares will be put to the test here. A 6-7 split. It's possible, but you got to get that ball way over on the right edge of the lane and just slide the 6 across the lane into the 7. We're about due to have one of these made. But not this time. So Kirsten's string of marks is snapped. And with that, Anna moves out into the lead by 1. And she pounds the pocket and gets the 9 to go out late. How about that one? She will show you her emotions. Watch this. I think this will probably be the 2-pin that comes off the left wall. Watch it. And here it comes. And it will roll out the 9 at the last instant. A strike in slow motion. And she gets another one. And with that double, she moves out to an 11-pin lead. Here's her footwork. It's a 5-step approach. Look at that left foot. It's not only perpendicular to the line, it's actually pointed to the left. I would much rather see that than to see it pointed to the right. See how she holds her follow-through? Her hand hasn't moved since she let go of the ball. That's how it's done, boys and girls, right there. Oh, and look at this. Kirsten rips the rack. I've been waiting to see one of those. Watch this. She will find the half pocket, and this ball drives on through and sends the 5-pin left over toward the 7. The shredder. Love it. Another one? Yes! This time she gets the light shaker to go. And that double cuts Anna's lead to just 1 pin. Here's a 4-step approach. She's a planter, not a slider. Throws it over the 3rd arrow, out to about 9. And it just gets enough of the head pin to send it to the left wall to do the dirty work. All right, let's watch her style again. 4 steps. And she's in pretty good position here. The ball's close to her ankle. What I would like to see Kirsten do is stay down through her release. She'll pull up. See how she pulls up, and her left knee is hardly bent at all. You want to stay down through the shot. That'll keep it on line and give you more leverage. See how Anna stays in position? That ball just drifts high a little bit, leaves the 4-7. Anna's been at this since she was 4, so she's been bowling for the better part of 8 years. And she's got a really good coach in her dad, who is a .230 average bowler himself. And there's a spare. But as we reach the 10th frame, this is anybody's ball game. Just 1 pin separating these 2 young ladies. Kirsten with a slight advantage in that she has a 1-pin lead, but she also has a double working. So Anna's got to take care of business. She puts it right in the pocket, but that pesky 10-pin just refuses to fall, and now she falls 1 more pin behind, and will have to face this lonesome pin over in the right corner. You saw her right arm go up in triumph. She knew she'd made it. And now the fill ball. In this situation, you want to get all you can because obviously count is important here. And there's all 10. You can't do any better than that. So a 188 with her 7 pins of handicap. And we will watch that last shot once again in split screen, so you'll be able to see both the ball as it goes through the pins. See how she holds her finish position in perfect balance, and then you see her reaction to it. She loves it. All right, Kirsten needs to fill 19 to win. All right. There's a 9 count. So a spare here, and then a strike. And Kirsten will move on to match 2. But she must make this. Well, she has proven herself capable of making 10 pins. But now, can she throw a strike when it matters most? A strike to win. 9 would send us to a roll-off. 8 or less, and Anna wins. Oh, and there's 9. And we're headed for a roll-off. That's a tie. Well, we haven't had a roll-off on Prodigy this year. At the Kansas City Open, the way it works is it's a 9th and 10th style roll-off. They'll bowl like a 9th and 10th frame. The player who finished last in the match will lead off in the roll-off. Handicap, if there is any, is prorated. They'll get 1/5 of what they normally would get. And if tied after the 9th and 10th frame roll-off, they will repeat the process however many times is necessary until there's a winner. If they're tied after a 9th and 10th, we rinse and repeat. So in this situation, in a 9th and 10th, that means that Anna will get 1 pin, Kirsten none. And Kirsten will lead off. That was just ever so slightly high. And she will have to shoot the 4 pin. And we haven't had any roll-offs this year on Prodigy. We've had some close matches, but first time we've seen one of these. Kirsten's a spare-making machine, I'll tell you. All right, Anna Keeler. Love how she hits the line in perfect balance. That will help give you as much leverage as you're going to get. Watch this. Pretty good knee bend, good balance, holds the position, and that ball will get through and drive the 5 over toward the 7. Now that one got away from her a little bit. She pulled it. Just let her elbow get out a little bit at release. The ball was inside her target, right off her hand. So she will go cross lane at the 6-10. This is super important here. She needs to get this. She knew it was good halfway down the lane. So now, count is important. If she gets a strike, that would give her 41, which would mean Kirsten would need to double in the 10th to beat her. Actually, if she gets 9, she'll have 40. If Kirsten goes strike spare, they'd tie. Kirsten would need a double to win. But Anna pastes the pocket, gets that extra pin, the 41, puts her in a commanding position now. Over the third arrow, out to about 11. Straighter is greater. Bingo. Kirsten must strike on this ball and the next ball to win. And then it goes high. She leaves the 3. So it's Anna Keeler who wins the opening match. The best Kirsten can do now with a spare strike finish in this 10th frame is 39. That's not going to be enough. She'll go ahead and finish it out, though. A good effort. These two girls tied in qualifying, and there wasn't a roll-off because when two tie for the 4th spot in the stepladder, they just both advanced to the stepladder, and the girl that bowled the higher game in qualifying was decreed the 4 seed. That was Kirsten, but they finally got their roll-off, and it's Anna Keeler who wins it 41-36. She's moving on to face Isabel Young in our next match. Announcing the 2023 Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions. This tournament is open to all KCO champions who win their title in the featured divisions showcased this season on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. By the time the season is complete, we will have covered 10 KCO tournaments. September, October, November, December, January, then we missed the one in February because I was in the hospital, then the 2 tournaments in March, and the ones in April, May, and the KCO Invitational in June. That's 10 KCOs. At each event, we covered 2 divisions, Division 1 at each event, and then 1 other division in the undercard show each month. So we could have as many as 10 handicap champions and 10 scratch champions eligible to enter the Prodigy TOC. Well, we won't actually have 10 scratch champions because we've already had a couple of multiple winners, but you get the idea. All the kids who have signed the coveted trophy pin are eligible to bowl in the Prodigy Tournament of Champions. Here's how it'll work. All these champions will bowl a 3-game qualifier. The handicap division will bowl with handicap of 75% of the difference between their average and 200. And the Division 1 winners will, of course, bowl scratch. The top 4 in the handicap division and the top 4 in the scratch division will claim guaranteed spots in their respective division stepladder finals. And the remaining kids who fail to finish in the top 4 will still have a chance to make the stepladder. They will then bowl a scratch wildcard round consisting of Prodigy's famous single ball eliminator format, where each player throws 1 ball per frame, with the player getting the low pinfall in the frame being eliminated. Then we move to the next frame and repeat the process until only 1 player is left standing, and that player will claim the 5th spot in the stepladder finals. So everyone will appear on the show and everyone will have a chance to win. Even the player who finishes last in qualifying can rally to grab the 5th spot in the wildcard round and go on a run. It's literally anybody's ball game. We'll crown a TOC champion in both divisions. The winner in the handicap division will be presented with the Hunter Moffat Award, so named because Hunter won the very first handicap event telecast on Prodigy back in 2017. And the winner in the scratch division will be presented with the Charles Bostic Award, so named because Charlie won the most Prodigy events in our first season and won the first coveted trophy pin. Then, those 2 champions will face off in a single-game handicap match where the handicap bowler will receive pins in the amount of 75% of the difference between their entering average and 200, and the winner of that match will claim the 2022-23 coveted trophy pin. This unique format guarantees that one of the handicap players and one of the scratch players will be vying for the coveted trophy pin at the end of the day. We'll also present an award to the player that we select as the first ever PBAA, that's Prodigy Bowlers Across America, Player of the Year, determined by a vote of our Blue Ribbon panel and you. That's right, Prodigy viewers will get a vote in our selection. Stay tuned for details on how you can vote for the player you think should be honored as our first ever PBAA Player of the Year. It's a brand new format for the one major held each year on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's the 2023 Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, Sunday, June 11th at Olathe Lanes East in Olathe, Kansas. That's 1 week after the KCO Invitational. If you're a youth bowler who's won a championship on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season and signed the coveted trophy pin, you're eligible for the Prodigy TOC and will receive your invitation soon. So mark your calendar now for June 11th, 10 a.m. at Olathe Lanes East. It's the 2023 Prodigy TOC, the season's last hurrah. Who will claim the coveted trophy pin? It seems fitting that after Kirsten Ussery and Anna Keeler tied after 6 games of qualifying, that they would end regulation of their head-to-head match tied. And you know, there's nothing I like more than a close match. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't ask for more than a match that goes to extra frames. But in that 9th and 10th frame roll-off, Anna put the pressure on Kirsten, who then needed a double in the 10th to win, and she just came up a little short. So for Kirsten Ussery, it's a good day of bowling and a 5th place finish. And for Anna Keeler, she takes a step up the stepladder into match 2, where she'll now face our number 3 qualifier, Sibley, Missouri's Isabel Young. Isabel made the stepladder finals the last time the KCO was here at Crown Lanes back in February and finished 5th. So today she's already guaranteed of a better showing. Meanwhile, Anna Keeler is hoping to ride the momentum of her win in match 1 and the last time she bowled in a KCO, which was at the March points tournament, where she finished 3rd and actually qualified in 2nd at that event. Oh boy. Well, threw that ball a little slow this time and it didn't hold line, so she's got the 4-6-7-9. This can actually be made. It's a little easier than the Greek church where you have the 10 pin as well. The 4-6-7-9. You shoot it like a 4-9. The 4 pin can either hit the front of the 9 and bounce forward into the 6, or you can send the 4 into the back of the 9 and knock the 9 forward into the 6. But she hits the 4 a little too full for any excitement to unfold, so it's an open frame to start. And once again, as we always do in these handicap matches, you see that we add her 7 pins handicap into the 8 pins she got in the first frame, so Anna has 15 in the first. Now, Isabel Young. And that toss got away from her. The 1-2-5-9. A spare we don't see all that often on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, but you shoot it just as you would shoot a strike. Put the ball right on the right side of the head pin, just as if you were trying to hit the 1-3 pocket. The 1 will get the 2, the ball will drive through and get the 5 and the 9. But she's a little wide with that one, so both players start with opens, and you see we've added the 2 pins. Isabel gets in handicap to the 8 pins she got in the first frame, so that's 10 in the first. And now you don't have to do any math in your head to keep track of the handicap. It's all added into both players' scores. There's a better throw. Comes in light, leaves the 2-4-5. Tell you one thing I really like about Isabel Young's game is she has a long, very free pendulum swing. Sometimes it is surprisingly difficult to teach that. She just lets it swing freely. And that's a good spare. I always say that the arm swing is really about 85% of the game. If you can master a nice, free-flowing, straight arm swing, you've almost got this game licked. There's a strike for Anna. She has a nice, compact arm swing. She doesn't swing it as high as Isabel does, so she doesn't generate the same speed, but she's also shorter. So this kind of fits her body style, and she keeps it on line. Solid strike. Oh man, I thought she had another one, but it just crept about a half an inch too high. The longer arm swing can help you generate a little more speed, more velocity with the ball, can be very helpful. You can throw it too hard, but Anna could use a little more ball speed. Well, especially on spares like that, where it overhooks. Part of the reason Anna throws it as slow as she does is because she keeps her shoulders real square to her target, which is kind of the way it used to be taught. We don't teach that kind of arm swing anymore, but it can work. Well, Isabel wide with that one. And now she gets to shoot the washout, the 1-2-10. Here's how it's done. Put the ball over on the left side of the head pin. Throw it over into the 10. The ball will get the 2. Seems easy enough. That 1 pin is as far from the 10 pin as the 7 pin is from the 10 pin. Not everyone realizes that. It's an open frame and a 7-pin deficit for Isabel at the moment. Both players with a couple of opens. Not the way they want to start, I'm sure. There's a better shot. She gets a little more of the head pin. She probably made a slight adjustment with her feet. Let's look at her footwork. It's a 4-step approach. Nice slide. Look at that left foot perpendicular to the foul line. Ball pretty close to her ankle. She sends it over 12 at the arrows, out to about 9. And it comes in light, and that head pin goes to the left wall and kicks out the 4, 5, and 7. Dick Weber would be proud of that one. Anna comes in just a little too light to get that kind of pin action. The head pin actually goes in front of the 2. And she leaves the 2-4-5. Somewhat easier spare without the 8 in the back. That's when we call it the bucket. I guess you'd say this is the empty bucket. Call it anything you want. It's a spare. And Anna maintains her 7-pin lead. Well, Anna says she wants to be a teacher one day. You have to admire that. Hold it. Nearly got away with it. crosses over, leaves the 6. Except for that open in the very first frame of her first match, she's been pretty solid on these right side spares. And she knew that was good before the ball ever got there. Isabel, one of the players we have in our field today who has bowled in every single KCO this season. She qualified first in November, finished second. That's her best finish this year. And that is a rocket to the pocket right there. She threw that one like a frozen rope. And that's her first double. Look at that free-flowing arm swing right on line with her target. Gives it a little turn at the bottom. I'd love to see her stay a little more behind the ball and get your fingers a little lower around the equator. That one's getting away from her. And another one of these that misses the head pin. And the 1-2, 8-9. This one's a little more difficult than the 1-2, 5-9. You actually want to hit this one a little more full on the head pin, favoring the left side, because you got to send that 1 pin back into the 9 and get the ball to get the 2 and the 8. And that's trouble, especially coming off those 2 strikes she had up. So Izzy hands Anna a 14-pin lead heading into the second half of the match. Well, she just missed to the right with that toss, and the ball didn't recover. She leaves the 1-2-4. To make this, you just throw your strike ball. You move about 3 boards to the right of your strike position. Throw it over your strike target. Let that ball drift over to the left of the head pin. The ball will get the 1 and 2. The 2 will get the 4. And just like that. Well done. Well, Anna, coming off a 3rd place finish at the March Points tournament. I think we told you earlier she qualified second for that one. She's also had a 5th this season. That was when she was in Division 5 back in October, and a 6th at the December Youth Adult. And look at that love tap on the 10. Gotta love these. This was heading to be a week 10. But watch the 6 pin, the second one from the right. The 3 pin will nudge it off into the gutter, and it leans into the 10, and thank you very much. And Izzy just sends that one a little wide, and it doesn't quite recover. She's got her hand kind of on the top of the ball with her fingers on the side. You'd like to stay a little more behind the ball, and if you can get those fingers a little more below the equator of the ball, have a little more power. There's another good cover of that 1-2-4 cluster that is very choppable, but she takes care of it. But now it's getting late. Izzy's favorite pro bowler, Shannon O'Keefe. And in fact, Isabel aspires to be a pro bowler one day. Oh, that 5 pin tried to lean over into the 7, but she will have that corner pin to shoot. Both of these girls like to play volleyball when they're not bowling. we should get a pretty good look at how straight her arm swing is going right down the line toward the 7-pin. See that? Well, I tell you what, when you've got an arm swing that's that straight and you can keep it right on line with your target, this game becomes a whole lot easier. And all those other issues that you'd like to solve, like hand position and where your fingers are relative to the equator of the ball, all that stuff can work itself out. Straight arm swing is the thing. Oh my. Anna crosses over and leaves a rather unusual split for a right-hander, the 5-10. Here's how you make it. You put that ball on the left side of the 5 and try to slide it over into the 10. We see this thing so seldom, it's not often we see it made. Move your feet about 3 or 4 boards to the right and just throw it over your strike target. How about that one? Well, she's a trick shot artist. We saw her make the 4-5 earlier, and now she covers the 5-10. Watch this. She sends this one out wide to the right. I wasn't sure it was coming back, but here it is. All right. Love to see those. And she comes right back and parks the red C as the ball splits the 5 and 6. Watch this. That ball will deflect a little off of the head pin and will go right between the 5 and 6. All right, it's time for Izzy to get busy. Well, she gets a crossover to go. That's one way to do it. Those count too. Let's take another look at Izzy's game here. 4-step approach. See, at the top of the swing, that ball is shoulder high. Love this position. But then at the bottom, she's got her hand on top of the ball and kind of on the side. I'd like to see her hand a little more behind the ball. She kind of pulls up at the line too. That may be one of the reasons she pulled it left. You want to keep that left knee bent through the release and stay down through the shot. That was a little better. Got a piece of the head pin. She could have used a little more of it, though. A strike there would have been huge. But as it is, she will have to hope that Anna makes a mistake in the 10th. Izzy's got to make this. The 2-4-5, very choppable spare. Put the ball on the 2 and 5. All right, she goes on the other side. That works too. Okay, you're not done yet, Izzy. You got one more ball to throw. Get all you can here. You never know what your opponent is going to do. If Anna were to open and short count, you might just steal victory from the jaws of defeat. You never know. Get all you can. Oh, yikes. 7 is not what she wanted. That means that Anna can win this match without a mark. If she gets 8 or better on this ball, she slams the door shut. And that's all 10, and see you later. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's Anna Keeler who's moving on to the next match. It's a crossover, but it counts as a strike. She can finish with 199 with 2 more strikes. Well, there's one. And now she's got a little spring in her step. You notice that when she was coming back? Good balance, good position at release. Right on line. Nice, repeatable swing. And Anna Keeler wins our second match today. And now she will move on to match 3 and face Liliana Gentlemark when we return. This last match remained close until the 10th frame when Anna went off with a 4-bagger. Up to that point, Isabel kept it close and even fought her way into the lead at one point. That 5-10 split that Anna made in the 8th frame proved huge, because if she'd missed it, the match would have been dead even heading into the 9th and 10th frames. But her conversion of that split gave her just enough of a cushion that it forced Isabel's hand, and she just wasn't able to produce a double in the 10th frame when it could have put the pressure on Anna instead of the other way around. So, it's Anna Keeler who gets the green light to advance to match 3, where she'll now face the player who qualified in the 2nd position today, Liliana Gentlemark. I've read her name a time or two in the recaps of the divisions that have bowled in the periphery on previous editions of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, but this is her first appearance in the showcased stepladder on the show. Liliana out-bowled Anna in qualifying today by almost 100 pins, but none of that matters now. It's a one-game match to see which one of these two girls will be in the championship match against our leader, Grace Coleman. And what happened earlier today is now ancient history. Tournament bowling poses the question, what have you done for me lately? And now, in this penultimate match, we're about to find out which of these two girls can get to the dance where we'll crown a champion. Well, that one drifts a little high. She'll have the 6-10. Liliana, one of the 3 girls, actually all 3 of our top 3 qualifiers, with perfect attendance at the KCO thus far. She's bowled in every single one of the KCOs this season. Oh, look out. Dropped that one inside of her target, so that's 8 out. Added to her 9 pins of handicap, gives her 17 in the first frame. So Anna will try to pounce right off the bat. And pounce she does. Gave that one a nice turn. And it came off the dry on the outside and just plowed through the pins right in the pocket. Boy, that one got way out there, out to about the 3 or 4 board, but she gave it enough turn that it came back. Went a little more direct with that one. She could have thrown that one a little farther to the right, but cuts through the heart, and she leaves the difficult 3-6-10. This one of those spares, very easy to chop. She's doing the right thing, though, moving to the far left side of the lane. And covers it easily. I'd say she's got some pretty good coaching going on. Liliana began bowling at the age of 5. So both of these girls, Anna says she started at 4, Liliana at 5. They've been bowling pretty much their whole lives. Liliana crosses over and gets a strike. Take another look at it. 4-step approach. And you see right here, look where her left foot is. It's about the 28th board, maybe. And now when she slides, it's on about the 19th board. So she takes a big step to the right with her final step. And I recognize that because I do it too. And it's not recommended. The reason why is because when you step into your swing, it makes it more difficult. If she could straighten that out, she'd be better off. I've been working on that for about 30 years and haven't had much success, so I hope Liliana has more success with it than I've had. Oh boy. Well, that's 2 right side spares that she's missed badly to the left. And that's just letting your elbow fly out. The ball gets inside your hand before it even leaves your hand, and it's a dead pull. Well, that one was just a pinch high. Annalise lucky to get away with just the 4-pin. And just like you go cross lane at right side spares, you move to the right when shooting left side spares. And she covers the 4-pin easily. Well, this young girl and her twin sister, I tell you what, they are pretty hard to tell apart. I'm sure we'll get Hadley on the show one of these days. That's got to get up. Oh boy, it sure did. Wow. Wow. That was a truck going through the pins. I thought she'd miss to the right. But watch this. What got the 7-pin? That was the 8-pin that got the 7. Watch this. Watch the 8-pin. See the 8? It's going to go behind the 7 and just nudge it enough to rock it and knock it back. Unbelievable. I'm not sure I've ever seen that. Well, that was a pretty good shot by Liliana. Just kind of spent its energy a little too early, and so it didn't have enough on the very back end to kick out the 10, but just a single pin spare. Now she's been having difficulty with these right side spares. She moves to the extreme left side of the approach like we recommend. And she misses another one to the left. Well, when you're missing those right corner spares to the left like that again and again, it could be that you just need to orient your shoulders, hips, and feet, point them slightly more toward the right. That'll get your swing plane oriented more toward throwing the ball over to that corner. This time she hits it a little too thin to get the 2-pin to go, but this should be a decidedly easier spare for her to convert. The 2-pin, I normally recommend throwing the strike ball, moving your feet a few boards to the right, but she's going straight at it with her spare ball. And that works too. Good shot. She's got to be breathing a sigh of relief. That's her first spare of the game. Anna with a strike up. She can run away and hide if she can string a couple more here. There's one right in the pocket. And that'll increase her lead to 42. This is as good a strike as we've seen her throw today. Pretty tight line. That ball never gets outside about 11 at the break point. 10 back. That one decidedly wider, and it finds the dry over on the right side of the house shot and comes hooking through the nose, leaving the 310 baby split. Here's how you make it. Put the ball on the right side of the 3. The ball should deflect into the 10. Now, this is easier if you shoot it from the left side of the lane, because look what happens if you stand over toward the right side of the lane. The gap between the two pins gets wider from the ball's perspective. It's easier from the left side. She's shooting it correctly, but she just gets too much of the 3-pin. So it's an open, and that'll make this match a little closer. Liliana still trailing by 28, but now that lead is a little less insurmountable. She just needs to string a couple of strikes, and she'll be right back in this thing. Good break as the head pin comes off the wall to take out the 5. So she has just the 7-pin. She'll go cross lane at it. And she's having no problem with her spares on the left side of the lane. Liliana says she got started bowling just for fun, and that her mom and dad forced her to go bowling. Those are her words, not mine. But she says she bowls with her besties in league. There's no better way to bowl league than with your besties. That ball just slipped off her hand a little bit. The clothesline, the 1, 2, 4, 7. Put that ball over on the left side of the head pin, and it should deflect and actually knock down all 4 pins. Too high on the head pin. Sends the 2 around the 4. So that's another open frame, and, well, this is getting a little out of hand. Anna's lead now 44 pins. Well, Anna pulled that one right through the nose and leaves the 4-6 split. I've only seen this made once or twice in my whole life. She doesn't throw it hard enough to bounce one out. She'd have to tip one over into the other. It is about a 1 in 10,000 shot. That's the smart play. Just take one, get your count, take your medicine, and move on. She's got pins to burn. Even after the open, still a 33-pin lead with 3 frames left. Liliana can strike out for 188. Anna going at a 191 pace. Leaves the 610 with that high hit. She's been making these 6-10 combinations like clockwork today. She'll move over to the left side and go straight at it with her spare ball. Got another one. No sweat. Well, as I mentioned earlier in the show, this is just the second time we've ever had an all-girls field on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. The first time was at the 2019 Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions U17 Girls Championship round, won by Bailey Snow of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Episode 98, for those of you who want to go look at it. That 5-pin tried to get over to the 7. Just didn't quite make it. So she needs to make this spare and then go off the sheet, as they say, and hope that Anna hits a couple of bumps in the road along the way. It's a good spare. That ball does look like it kind of falls off her hand at the bottom rather than seeing her roll it off her fingers. Makes me wonder if there's a fit issue or maybe the ball's a little too heavy for her. I'm not sure. Once again, looked like she just lost it off her hand that time. Goes wide, leaves the 1-2-4. We've seen this one a couple of times today on Prodigy. And she will use her strike ball at this one. That's interesting. She used her spare ball to shoot the 2-pin. And once again, too much of the head pin sends the 2 around the 4. And, well, that's going to just about do it. Anna can put the final nail in the coffin here and punch her ticket to the championship match with this throw. And 8 is enough, as they say. So it's Anna Keeler who wins match 3. Liliana just never seemed to bowl like herself this match. She bowled a lot better than this all day today, but you know, sometimes that happens. So Anna, the youngest player in our 5-girl field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, wins her 3rd match. And now, can she keep her momentum going? Well, that's a couple shots in a row she's thrown right through the nose. But this 6-pin is one that she's been having no problem with all day today. And this time is no exception. Possible 188 with a strike on her fill ball. Tell you what, if these last few strike balls have gone through the nose, this would be a good time to move left and throw a test shot. Tell you what, I think she did move a board or 2 left with her feet. She probably needs to move another board or 2 left with her feet and another board left with her eyes. She'll be right there. We'll stay with the action here and watch Liliana finish out her game. She lists as her best moment in bowling when she threw her first ever 200 game. Her high is a 239. I sure would have loved to have seen her get a little closer to that today. I'm sure she would have liked that too. Well, that was a better shot, but it cuts sharply through the pins, and now she's faced with a split in the 10th frame. But even though the match is out of reach, she can still have a little fun, try to make the 4-9. Here's how you do it. Slide that 4 over into the 9. Let's see if she can show us a trick shot. Well, she went boldly at it, but it's an open to finish. And a disappointing 132 for Liliana, but she'll be back It's Anna Keeler who's bowling for the championship against Grace Coleman. Hello, Prodigy Land. It's me, Coach Randy. I was recently invited to be the guest on the world's #1 bowling podcast, Phantom Radio, hosted by Len Nicholson. He's the longtime lane maintenance director for the PBA's national tour. Len's been doing this podcast for over 20 years, and his list of guests on the show reads like a who's who of bowling. Just in the last 9 months or so, he's interviewed people like Carmen Salvino, one of the PBA's founding members, Del Warren, the lead instructor at Kegel, Larry Lichstein, the PBA's longtime director of player services and a PBA Hall of Famer, Kim Terrell Kearney, Hall of Fame bowler and college bowling coach. And the list goes on and on. Well, Len learned of what we're doing with Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and he invited me on the show to tell the Prodigy story. And I wanted to invite you to check out his podcast. So go to www.kegel.net/phantom. The episode where I appeared is the March 29th episode, and you'll see all the other episodes listed there all the way back to August. Plus, Len Nicholson has also asked me to spread the word about his brand new Phantom Radio Junior Bowling Club. It's free to join, and there'll be free prizes, instruction, and you might hear your name on the Phantom Radio podcast. To sign up, go to kegel.net/phantom and look for the link to join the club. We now return you to our regularly scheduled program, already in progress. I just hate it when one of our bowlers performs well during qualifying, only to lay an egg in the stepladder finals. Mostly because I know it's frustrating for them. But I also want you to see them performing at their best. But you know, in sports, sometimes you've got it and sometimes you don't. It's all part of the package. I just hope Liliana takes the positives from her experience today. I pointed out a couple of things she could work on that would help her get a little better for next time. But most of all, she should come away from this day knowing she's proven she's got the right stuff to get herself into position to have a chance to win it all. But it's Anna Keeler who takes match 3, and now she finds herself in the championship match against our tournament leader, Grace Coleman of the Bowling Coleman family. Honestly, I've kind of lost track of just how many Colemans we have in the KCO field, and I'm not entirely sure which ones are related and which ones just share the same last name. But I know that you watched Bailey Coleman bowl in the December Adult Youth Tournament in Division 4. Then at the March Adult Youth Tournament in Division 1, you saw Andrew Coleman. And now here we are at the April Points Tournament, and we're drawing from that same gene pool of talent. This time it's Grace Coleman who's got the pole position here at Crown Lanes. When the KCO was here at Crown Lanes in February, Grace qualified in the 2nd position and finished as the runner-up to Hannah Hill in a thrilling championship match that ended with Grace on the short end of a 169-166 score. Today, she's got a tiger by the tail as Anna Keeler has bowled well on this pair of lanes and is hoping to ride her momentum all the way to the finish line and into the winner's circle. Grace had the option and has elected to lead off. And that ball crosses over, but she gets a strike to start. 4-step approach. Nice slide. She kind of stuck at the line that time. Falls off to the right. She will do that quite often. We'll talk about that as the game unfolds. Now Anna. Oh, she made a move to the left, and it paid off. And that was high flush. She's moved to the left after talking things over with her dad. And that's right where you want to be, right there. She may be tough to beat this game. And another one in the pocket. She gets the light shaker to go. And that's a double out of the gate for Anna Keeler. Let's look at her footwork. We've seen it once before. 5-step approach. Nice slide. Love that left foot, pointing left, actually. Perpendicular is what we shoot for, but if you can get it pointed left, I'll tell you who that reminds me of is Nelson Burton Jr. He did the same thing. He's only in the PBA and USBC Halls of Fame. And a crossover trip 6 for Grace, and both players start with doubles. We'll get a second look here at Grace's game. 4-step approach. Pretty simple mechanics. This will cross over and she'll trip the 6. Well, bowling is hard enough when you're hitting the pocket. You got to get some breaks when you miss it. That's 3 Brooklyns in a row, and she may need to make a slight adjustment on the approach. You see, we've added her 9 pins of handicap into her score. 2 strikes and 9 would give her 29 in the first frame. Add the 9 pins of handicap, that gives her 38 in the first. Carefully checking her feet. Want to be on just the right board. I don't think she really wanted to send that thing quite so far to the right, but on the house shot, you can get away with that. It's a spare. So Anna trailing by 1 with a double working. Oh, man, that was so close to being a swisher, but that 5-pin just got caught up in the traffic. There's so much action over on the left side of the rack, it just couldn't find the 7-pin. So, and on Anna's score, we do the same thing, adding her 7 pins into her score. So the handicap is added into both players' score now, so you don't have to do any math in your head. It's a 2-pin match right now. As we mentioned earlier in the show, the action to our left is Division 5. The action to our right is already finished. That's Division 3. We'll let you know how they did when we get to the end of the show. Once again, that 5-pin tries to find the 7, but just doesn't quite get there. I don't know what weight ball Anna throws. She's just 12 years old, so it may be a lighter ball. And when you move left with your feet and you're playing the inside of the lane, sometimes it's hard to get that 5-pin to motor over to the left corner of the lane. Oh no, you can't be doing that. Blown single pin spare. You don't expect to see her miss a 7-pin. But that hands a 14-pin edge to Grace Coleman. Well, I think she might have made an adjustment on the approach. She'd gone Brooklyn the last 3 frames. This time it just goes through the nose. She needs to move a little farther to get it over into the pocket. The 4, 6, 7, nothing you can really do with this but just take the 2 on the left, be happy that you get 9 out, and go quietly. That's what she does. And with that, we have a tie match. Grace Says her high game is 232, high series 578. So she's still looking for her first 600 series. It won't be long. Another Brooklyn. Just the 9-pin. Grace says she wants to be a nurse when she grows up. Good for her. Covers the spare. And I tell you what, when you get in a close match like this, and you know nobody's going to go stringing 5-6 strikes, you just got to close all your frames, cover your spares, keep it in play, get in the pocket so that you've got easier spares to shoot. All right, the 2-4-5. We've seen this one a time or two today. Ideally, you want to put the ball on the 2 and 5. But we've seen it made on the other side. It'll work either way. Just want to be careful and not chop the 2 off the 5. And that's well done. Anna's still looking for her first win at the KCO this season, although today is her 3rd stepladder final. She finished 3rd at the March Points tournament, 5th in October, and she just missed stepladder in December, finishing 6th at the youth adult. Came in light again, another 2-4-5. Sure like to see easier spares than this. Leave enough of these, you're going to start missing them. That's left. Oh, it's too much left. And she sends the 2 in front of the 5. So now Grace with the advantage, a 14-pin lead. As she gets up in the 6th. She crosses over and leaves the 6-9-10, which looks like you've taken the 2-4-5 and transplanted it over in the right corner of the lane. See what she can do with it. Look out. Well, here, I don't want it. You take it. No, I don't want it. You can have it. One of these two is going to have to take the bull by the horns, as it were. Yeah, Grace crossing over once again. That seems to be the way she's gotten all of her strikes so far. 3 Brooklyns. Watch her approach. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Ball close to her ankle. Hold it left of target, though. I'd just like to see her stay down through the shot a little more, and I think she would see some improvement. Hannah almost leaving another 2-4-5, but breaks it up. Leaves just the 5-pin. And about a dozen hands go up in the gallery, including that of Rodney Burr, the KCO board member who's monitoring this championship match. You see him in the beret at the bottom of your screen. Easy spare. And Anna makes short work of it. She leads by 1, but Grace has a strike working. Anna getting a little coaching from her dad from the cheap seats. Oh man, that 10 went out late, but it went out. You don't need to be leaving wide open splits at this point in the match. Now she did hook past the 4-pin and missed it earlier. Got to be careful with this. But she makes sure of getting it this time. And so, Grace Coleman, with the narrowest of leads, just 1 pin, but she can extend it if she can strike here in the 8th. Oh, she crossed over again. Nearly got another strike, but the 10-pin stubbornly refusing to fall. And so she'll go cross lane at it. Pulled it again. Missed left. Almost every one of her misses today has been left. I think that's partly because of how she stands up at the line instead of staying down with the shot. But also when she follows through, her elbow is usually out to the right, and she cuts off her follow-through and bends at the elbow. I'd like to see her keep her arm extended as she follows through. See how it's bent at the elbow? And that ball goes left again. But she leaves just the 3, an easy spare. I think when Grace watches this video, she may notice how she just pulls up on almost every ball and kind of steps off to the right. That's a balance issue. See how she steps off with her right foot? That is usually caused by getting your shoulders too far forward, and that causes your center of gravity to come up and get out in front of your knees, so you're off balance at release. So keep your shoulders back. When you push the ball away with your right hand, don't let your shoulders follow the ball forward in the push away. Keep your shoulders back, your butt down, so that your base stays under you. Thin. But a 9 count. I don't know how she got 9 out of that, but she did. Just the 2-pin. Anna carefully setting her feet. Oh no, you can't be missing the 2-pin. She goes from 10 pins ahead to 1 pin behind. And don't look now, but it's the 10th frame. Well, tell you what, if ever you're going to throw your Sunday ball, now's the time to bring it out. And that's left. Oh, but she gets away with it. Well, Brooklyn strikes count the same as regular strikes on the score sheet. She doesn't care. She pulled that one almost a full arrow left. That was over the 4th arrow. She's been throwing it over the 3rd arrow. But now, if she can throw a strike here, that changes the whole complexion of things here. Well, she gave it plenty of room, but it just didn't have the fingers. Well, the 1-2-8, fill it up, because you only trail by 1. A spare here will force Grace to throw a strike on her first ball in the 10th to win the match. Here's how you make the 1-2-8. Put the ball right on the 1 and 2. Oh no, don't do that. Now Grace can win without a strike. Grace Coleman needs to fill 18 in the 10th. Now she's got to watch her count, especially here on this first ball. She needs 8 or better to have a chance to win. How about all 10? Boy, that'll make her job a whole lot easier the rest of the way. She still needs 8 more pins, but because she threw a strike on her first ball in the 10th, she will have 2 shots to get those 8 pins. First time she's gotten a strike in the pocket this match. But now she's got 2 shots to get 8 pins. Crunch berries. And with that, Grace Coleman has won the Division IV title at the April KCO points tournament. Let's get another look at the shutout ball that sent her to the winner's circle. Best ball she's thrown all match. Possible 187 with another strike. And she trips the 4. And Anna is off her feet quickly to congratulate Grace, who wins the KCO with 3 strikes in the 10th when she'd only had 3 strikes the whole game up to that point. None of them in the pocket. But she got 3 in the pocket in the 10th. And now, look, it's the old guy who's sitting down to visit with our winner. And guess what? You're going to get to listen in. We'll visit with the champion, Grace Coleman, on Prodigy Bowlers Tour right after this. Just one of the most fascinating championship matches we've seen all season on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Grace Coleman and Anna Keeler both started with strikes at the beginning of the match, but then it became a battle of survival to see who could endure fewer open frames and who could cover their spares. Neither player could buy a double, and then Grace got up in the 10th frame, needing to fill 18 pins to take the title, and all she did was strike out and put an exclamation point on her championship. Anna bowled great all day. She just came up a little short at the end, and Grace stepped up when all the chips were pushed to the center of the table, and she stood up and said, "This title is mine." And so it is. So it's time you get to hear from her. Here's a face we haven't seen on Prodigy Bowlers Tour before. It's Grace Coleman from the Bowling Coleman family. How many of you Bowling Colemans are there anyway?
9.
9?
9.
How many of the 9 are still junior bowlers?
4.
4. Well, we had Andrew on the show last time at the Youth Adult. He's one of yours.
Yeah.
Who are the others?
Bailey.
Bailey we've had on the show. She was on the other Youth Adult back in December.
Yeah, and Gabe.
And
Gabriel.
so we haven't had Gabriel yet. So you're going to have to kick him in the butt when you see him.
Yeah.
Because now we've got a Coleman who's broken through into the winner's circle and won on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. How did you do it?
I had a lot of coaching. It takes listening. If you don't listen, they can't get through your thick skull, then you're just going to struggle. If you get frustrated, you're going to struggle. My best advice is just keep calm and breathe.
And breathe.
Breathe.
Well, you breathed pretty well today.
Thank you.
Well, was that your mom and dad that I saw back there rooting you on?
It was.
Yeah, looks like the whole clan is here.
Yeah, I had my mom, my dad, Gabriel, Andrew, and Bailey.
Well, that's awesome. Now they're going to watch you perform the ceremony of signing the coveted trophy pin. Put your name and the date on there, April 2nd.
All right.
And this qualifies you for the end of season Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions. The winner will claim the coveted trophy pin as their own. Of course, everybody ends up giving it away.
Yeah.
4/2/2023. So you're left-handed when you're writing.
Correct. I cannot bowl left-handed. We've tried quite a few times.
Well, I think the way you bowled today, I would stick with right-handed.
I would too. I owe that to Jerry Farrell. He helps me quite a bit.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
As we mentioned on the show today, the bowlers to our left on lanes 19 and 20 were the kids in Division 5. Here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the 4-seed, Isabella Meacham, took a narrow victory over the 5-seed, Allison Deere, 153-146. So Isabella advanced to meet MJ Carson, who is bowling in his very first KCO today. And Isabella won that match 209-162. In the next match, Isabella faced Grace Ryder, who won the Division 5 title on Prodigy back in September. But this time it was Isabella Meacham who kept her winning streak alive, barely, capturing the win 149-146. And that set up the championship showdown with Isabella going against tournament leader Colton Boob. Now, Colton won the March points tournament in Division 5, and today he made it 2 points tournaments in a row, defeating Isabella 170-128. Then on the pair to our right today, on lanes 23 and 24, that was the Division 3 group, and here's how their stepladder went. In the opening match, the 4-seed, Little Cortland Worrell, won a squeaker against the 5-seed, Leanna Larson, 199-198. In match 2, it was the 3-seed, Alexandria Beals, who ended Cortland Worrell's day, 191-166. Then in match 3, Alexandria Beals was in another close one against the 2-seed, Damian Burns, but it was Alexandria who prevailed 186-182. But in the championship match, it was the tournament leader, Skylar Holmes, who fended off Alexandria's challenge, claiming the title 202-179. On our last edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we told you about the Division 2 group, where Bryce Isaacson won all 4 matches to run the stepladder and claim the championship. And you saw Nolan Nash throw back-to-back 10-strike games to claim back-to-back KCO titles on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And earlier today, you just watched the stepladder finals in Division 4, where Anna Keeler won the first 3 matches before tournament leader Grace Coleman saved her best for last, striking out in the 10th to win the Division 4 crown. So once again, congratulations to the 5 winners at the 2023 KCO April Points Tournament at Crown Lanes in Leavenworth, Kansas. In Division 5, Colton Boob, In Division 4, Grace Coleman. In Division 3, Skylar Holmes. In Division 2, Bryce Isaacson. And in Division 1, Nolan Nash. Our next stop on Prodigy Bowlers Tour is Revolutions Lanes and Fun Center in St. Joseph, Missouri for the 2023 KCO May Points Tournament. We'll be there on Sunday, May 7th to record the stepladder finals in Divisions 3 and 1. And that's the final KCO Points Tournament of the season. The only other KCO event remaining on the calendar after that will be the season finale on June 4th at Olathe Lanes East for the KCO Invitational, where the big scholarship money will be awarded. And 1 week after that, on June 11th, we'll be back at Olathe Lanes East for the season-ending Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, where someone will claim the coveted trophy pin. If you want to support the work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, become a Prodigy patron. Go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and sign up. For just $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes. And for as little as $10 a month, you'll get that and be listed in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. To keep up with all things Prodigy, join our Facebook group. From any page on Facebook, type Prodigy Bowlers Tour in the search bar and hit enter. You'll be taken to a page where you can submit a request to join the group. But remember, you gotta answer the 3 screening questions or your request could be declined because we'll assume you're a spam bot, and you don't want us thinking that about you. Remember to leave a comment below here on the YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button and leave a thumbs up. All that helps us grow the channel. So that's it from Leavenworth, Kansas, and this edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. This is Coach Randy wishing you the very best, both on the lanes and off, and reminding you to keep a steady head so you can keep your eyes on your target. I'll talk to you next time. Now, go get your bowl on. Announcing the 2023 Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions. This tournament is open to all KCO champions who win their title in the featured divisions showcased this season on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. By the time the season is complete, we will have covered 10 KCO tournaments. September, October, November, December, January, then we missed the one in February because I was in the hospital, then the 2 tournaments in March, and the ones in April, May, and the KCO Invitational in June. That's 10 KCOs. At each event, we covered 2 divisions, Division 1 at each event, and then 1 other division in the undercard show each month. So we could have as many as 10 handicap champions and 10 scratch champions eligible to enter the Prodigy TOC. Well, we won't actually have 10 scratch champions because we've already had a couple of multiple winners, but you get the idea. All the kids who have signed the coveted trophy pin are eligible to bowl in the Prodigy Tournament of Champions. Here's how it'll work. All these champions will bowl a 3-game qualifier. The handicap division will bowl with handicap of 75% of the difference between their average and 200. And the Division 1 winners will, of course, bowl scratch. The top 4 in the handicap division and the top 4 in the scratch division will claim guaranteed spots in their respective division stepladder finals. And the remaining kids who fail to finish in the top 4 will still have a chance to make the stepladder. They will then bowl a scratch wildcard round consisting of Prodigy's famous single ball eliminator format, where each player throws 1 ball per frame, with the player getting the low pinfall in the frame being eliminated. Then we move to the next frame and repeat the process until only 1 player is left standing. And that player will claim the 5th spot in the stepladder finals. So everyone will appear on the show and everyone will have a chance to win. Even the player who finishes last in qualifying can rally to grab the 5th spot in the wildcard round and go on a run. It's literally anybody's ball game. We'll crown a TOC champion in both divisions. The winner in the handicap division will be presented with the Hunter Moffitt Award, so named because Hunter won the very first handicap event telecast on Prodigy back in 2017. and the winner in the scratch division will be presented with the Charles Bostic Award, so named because Charlie won the most Prodigy events in our first season and won the first coveted trophy pin. Then, those two champions will face off in a single-game handicap match where the handicap bowler will receive pins in the amount of 75% of the difference between their entering average and 200, and the winner of that match will claim the 2022-23 coveted trophy pin. This unique format guarantees that one of the handicap players and one of the scratch players will be vying for the coveted trophy pin at the end of the day. We'll also present an award to the player that we select as the first ever PBAA, that's Prodigy Bowlers Across America, Player of the Year, determined by a vote of our Blue Ribbon panel and you. That's right, Prodigy viewers will get a vote in our selection. Stay tuned for details on how you can vote for the player you think should be honored as our first ever PBAA Player of the Year. It's a brand new format for the one major held each year on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's the 2023 Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, Sunday, June 11th at Olathe Lanes East in Olathe, Kansas. That's 1 week after the KCO Invitational. If you're a youth bowler who's won a championship on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season and signed the coveted trophy pin, you're eligible for the Prodigy TOC and will receive your invitation soon. So mark your calendar now for June 11th, 10 a.m. at Olathe Lanes East. It's the 2023 Prodigy TOC, the season's last hurrah. Who will claim the coveted trophy pin?